Just because you hate physics does not mean you have to fail it. And in this video, very quickly, I'm going to be sharing with you some of the tips that helped me to always have a good score in JAMB Physics, even though I hated physics too. Yeah, so the first thing I'll say is this. Whenever you study a topic in physics, dedicate a particular page of your notes to note down all the formula under the particular topic that you read. Whatever you write down tends to stick more than what you don't, because when you write something down, you're more actively learning what you're writing down, and more of your senses are involved and focused on learning that particular thing. Another reason is that, for instance, say you want to solve a question and you're not remembering the actual formula that you need to solve the question. Once you remember one of the formula under the topic, it triggers the remembrance of all the other formula under that topic. I know how annoying this can be to be solving a question and then maybe you forgot the formula or something. You now have to start checking through the textbook page by page, trying to fish out the formula because you cannot remember precisely where you saw it. But if you have them written down together, it saves you all of that stress. As you write down the formula, also write down the principles that guide the formula. For instance, for calculations under motion, when you throw up an object, you usually use minus because you're working against the force of gravity. But when you throw down an object, you use plus because the motion of the falling object is in the same direction as the force of gravity. So if there are principles like that guide the formula, then also write them down. All of this helps when you want to do revision. It is easy to take your jotting notes and quickly revise the topic if you have all of the important things such as the formula written down all together in the same place. Another thing is this. Solve as many questions as possible. See, in physics, there is no magic to success. Hard work is still the answer. Okay, that is not meant to scare you, but in physics, the only way you can know is to actually do. And by doing, I mean solve as many questions as possible. See, physics is not one of those subjects where you're lying down on your bed and then you're just passively reading and you're understanding. No. When it comes to calculations under physics, you have to be actively solving questions, because as you solve questions more, there's a way that your reasoning, your thinking changes. It is configured, it is customized to think the way that it should in order to help you solve questions faster and faster. It's more like calibration. It is more like you're trying to condition your mind to think the way that it should whenever it is solving questions in that subject. The more questions you solve under a particular topic, the more familiar you are with the topic. So solve as many questions as possible. And whenever you're solving questions and you encounter a question that you do not immediately know, don't because of that get discouraged. Don't give up on the question and then go and check the solution immediately. No, stay with the question, try to figure it out. If it looks like you're wasting time, go to the other questions or other things you need to do for that day, then come back to the question and try to solve it again. Because when your brain works so much in trying to figure out the answer to a particular question, it is highly likely that you won't forget the question easily. So try to figure out the answers on your own before you do your correction. Now, another thing or another tip that is going to help you very much with JAMB Physics, this one is very, very important.
What?
You see, in JAMB Physics, you don't use calculator. Let me just tell you now. The calculator they give you literally contains subtraction, addition, multiplication, and division, and that's all. I don't know if it contains like a few other functions, but I'm just trying to tell you that it is a very, very basic calculator. So it is better to practice JAMB Physics questions without using calculator. As you practice more, your brain gets used to figuring out the answers without a calculator. If there's division, try dividing without your calculator. If there's multiplication, try multiplying without your calculator. Most JAMB questions, you can actually solve them without using calculator. And number two, it actually takes more time to start using calculator than using your brain most of the time for JAMB questions. I don't know if it is just me or if that is a general observation, but that is what I have seen. That is what I have noticed. So instead of reaching for your calculator use your brain. Try to use your brain to solve that question first. Now, the fourth tip that I'm going to be mentioning is this: know your sines and cosines. Go and know what is sine 30, cos 30, tan 30, what is sine 60. Go and know the values of those common sines and cosines, because let it not shock you that there are questions in JAMB that will require you to have the knowledge of your sines and cosines, and they don't have sines and cosines on their calculator. So if you do not know it, automatically you will not be able to solve questions like that. So go and learn your sines and cosines. Another tip that helped me is teaching someone else. Read with the mind of teaching someone else. Now, what I mean by this is that when you're reading, read as if you want to go and teach somebody what you read. I don't know if you have noticed that when you read to teach somebody, you actually tend to understand the topic better, because when you're reading to teach someone, your brain is forced to break down all of the complex concepts into very simple ones, because your brain will be asking you, okay, if you explain this thing to this person this way, are you sure the person will understand? How can you make this more simple such that whenever you explain, the person can understand without stress? And when you read like that, you tend to understand more. Number two reason is that when you teach somebody, it's another form of revision, because as you're teaching, it's like going over what you learned again, and this will help the information to stick more, especially in calculation. When you teach someone else, it is not likely that you forget the formula for the calculation or the step-by-step process of the calculation. Another thing is that when you teach someone else, the person might offer a new perspective, which eventually helps the both of you. So teach someone else. And you might say, oh, there's nobody to teach and everything. Well, even if there's nobody to teach, read as if there's somebody to teach. You can teach literally anything. Whenever I say this, people may find it funny, but it's true. You can teach your teddy bear, you can teach your chair, you can teach literally anything or anybody. When you teach whatever you learn, you are reinforcing the knowledge, you're revising what you taught, and you understand it better. Now, the last tip I'm going to be saying is change your mindset. See, if you already have the mindset of, oh, physics is hard, I'm going to fail it and everything, then it is very likely that you're going to fail it, because mindset is everything. It is what you believe that motivates your actions. So if you believe you can do well in physics, then you can do well. If you believe, oh, because I don't like physics, I'm going to, oh, physics is hard, I'm going to fail it, then it's highly likely that you're going to fail it. So from this point on, stop believing that you're going to fail. No, nobody is failing here by God's grace. Believe that you can have a good score, and you will definitely have a good score. And with this, we've come to the end of this video. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, and share with other people who might find the video helpful as well. See you in my next video. Bye.